Assalamu alaikum dear students. Let's continue the topic wave optics. In the last lecture we have studied the formula of fringe width in the interference pattern. We all know that in the steady interference pattern, you all might be knowing what is steady interference pattern and what is unsteady interference pattern, because this concept we have studied in the last lecture. So let us see what are the conditions for obtaining the steady interference pattern. Actually, steady interference pattern is consisting of consecutively bright and dark band, bright and dark fringes. In the last lecture, we had also seen the expression of the fringe width x is equal to lambda d upon d. And what is here? Lambda is the wavelength of light which we have used. Capital D is the distance between source of light and the screen where the interference pattern is obtained, and small d is the distance between the two sources of light that we are using. So let us see what are the mandatory conditions to obtain such an interference pattern in which we are getting sharp bright band and sharp dark band. Very first condition mentioned over here is coherent sources. What is mean by coherent sources? Coherent sources are nothing but the sources which are derived from a single source. The sources must be coherent. They should be derived from a single source. So this is an essential condition for getting sustained interference pattern. As we have already seen, the wave emitted by two sources, two coherent sources, are always in phase because we need a constant phase difference between the two waves which are interfering with each other. So the coherent sources are always in phase or they have a constant phase difference them at all times. So if the phases and the phase difference vary with time, the position of maxima and minima will also change. Means, what does it mean? It means what? Suppose you are using two different sources of light for the interference. It is just like a two light bulb, you can say. So two light bulbs are emitting the two light waves, no problem. But what happens if suddenly the electricity of the first light source is being cut off? Suppose there will be a sudden change in the power, it gets cut off and again it gets cut and again it is switched on. So what will happen? There will be a time variation between the two waves arriving at a single point. So the two sources are not going to emit the waves which should be in phase, or they should have a constant path difference for the constructive and destructive interference. So that is why the very first condition is the two sources must be derived from a single source. Means just like in a Young's double slit experiment, we had used this single source of light and it is to be passed from the cardboard which are having two pinholes. And from these two pinholes, obviously these two pinholes are now going to be acted as two sources of light, and these two sources are coherent in nature. Whatever changes are there in S, the same changes are going to be there in S1 and S2, and your interference pattern will not be vary in time. So that is why if the phases and the phase difference vary with time, the position of the maxima and minima will also change with time and interference pattern will not be steady. For this reason, it is preferred that the two secondary sources used in the interference experiment are derived from a single original source. Now the second condition is, very important condition, is monochromatic sources. Means the two sources of light should be monochromatic. The two sources of light must emit the light of single wavelength. What happens if you use the multichromatic source of light? For that, what will happen? There will be more than one color. So it may be possible that the bright fringe due to one one wavelength will fall on the dark fringe on the other wavelength. So your interference pattern will consist of a color pattern just like a rainbow. That is also the interference, but not the steady, because for steady interference we need a dark band. So if you are using multichromatic source of light, it may be possible that the bright fringe or bright fringes due to constructive interference may falls on the dark fringes, and your screen will be completely illuminated with the color. This is what happened in the Young's double slit experiment. The screen will be completely illuminated, and the central bright fringe, it has a white color while it is surrounded by the rest of the colors, and no dark fringe is obtained. So to obtain the dark fringe, we'll have to use the sources of light which should be monochromatic, means they should be of a single wavelength and single color. Means if you are using red color, then the two sources should be of red color. So this is what the drawback of Young's double slit experiment. He had used the two sources of light which are of multichromatic in nature. Now let's see the third condition. Third condition is also very important. As I told you in the last lecture, we had discussed that two sources should emit the waves which should have the same amplitude. What happens if the amplitudes are not equal? If the amplitudes are not equal, suppose one wave is having the amplitude 5 centimeter 5 and the other one is having the amplitude of 2. They are not equal amplitude. So in the constructive interference, you will get the resultant wave which is having resultant wave will have the whenever there is a constructive interference pattern, there will be a resultant wave of 7 amplitude. So because of this constructive interference, you will get a bright band. But what happens when the two waves interfere destructively? When they interfere destructively, at this time the amplitudes are going to cancel. So 5 minus 2 will be 3. It is not 0 here. So if this value is not 0, so you are going to get a less bright band. You will not be getting a dark band. So this is the reason in order to get a complete bright and complete dark band, we should have the two waves which are having the equal amplitude. The two waves should have the equal amplitude. It should be 5 or it should be 2. They should not be differ in their amplitude. Now let's have the another condition, small d. As I told you that small d is the distance between the two sources. It should be very small. The distance between the two sources must be very small. What happened? As in the last lecture, we have seen this formula that fringe width of the fringes that we are getting in the interference pattern is depending on, see this formula, lambda d upon d. Smaller the value of this d, smaller the value of d means smaller the distance between the two slits, greater would be the fringe width. And greater the value of this distance d between the two sources, smaller will be the fringe width. So in order to increase the fringe width, or in order to have a sharp fringes, well separated fringes, we will have to keep it very small. So that is why the distance between the two sources should be very small. Now the two sources must be narrow, means the two slits that we are using, they should be narrow. Actually what happens means the two pinholes which are there in the cardboard, if they are wide enough, so what happens over here on the screen, the two waves which are coming from the same source, they may get interfere with each other to give rise the interference pattern. So interference pattern over here will be faded. So that is why if the slits are if the slits are narrow, they will emit a single wave, and there will be a less chances that the two waves interfering with each other on the screen, they are of the same source. There will be a less chances of this. So that is why the two slits should be the two slits or the two sources of light should be narrow. And the last condition is, if you are using a polarized light, then the two waves should be in a same state of polarization. This concept you are going to study in the same topic over here, but explanation of this topic is beyond the scope of this book. So if you are using polarized light, then only that you should have to take care that the two sources and the two light should be in a same state of polarization. Now let us see methods for obtaining coherent sources. There are two different methods given in your textbook. Very simple one. Coherent sources. For coherent sources means what? The sources of light should be derived from the single source. So from the single source you'll have to derive two sources. So very first one, when we place a source of light in front of a mirror, ultimately we will get another source of light, because image of the source will also become a source of light. So this is what the Lloyd's mirror. Here we have taken Lloyd's mirror. This blue color slit is a Lloyd's mirror, and this is the source of light, say S1. This is a source of light. So what will happen? And here we have placed the screen. Remember that this screen is a screen of microscope or objective of microscope, from where we are observing the interference pattern. So what will happen? The light emitting or the waves emitting from the source S1, they all maybe directly fall on the screen, and so these are the light blue color lines shows the waves which are directly reaching the screen. But there will be a light wave which will graze the Lloyd mirror. Here see this light waves. They all are grazing the mirror, means they all are falling on the mirror, and the light reflected from the mirror and then reaches to the screen. So what will happen? This source will form the image inside the mirror, and all these light rays are supposed to be coming from the virtual source. When you extend these lines, they are supposed to be coming from the virtual source, and this virtual source will be acting as the another source of light for the interference pattern. So direct rays and the reflected rays will interfere with each other to give rise interference pattern. So in this way the two sources will become coherent, means the second source is derived from the same source, and you will get a steady interference pattern over here. Remember that only direct rays are just shown by the blue light. It doesn't mean that they are of different color. All are of the same color only. Just to explain the direct rays and the reflected rays, we have shown it with the two colors. So this is one of the method, and the second method is, in the biprism experiment, Fresnel biprism is used. We all know that prism is having a two refracting surface. So this Fresnel biprism is a combination of two prism. When you join the two prism just like this, it will become a biprism, and these two surfaces will be acting as the refracting surfaces when you join these two prisms. That is why the term is used biprism. Bi means two. So it is a combination of two prisms which are used to obtain the coherent sources. So let us see how we are going to obtain the two coherent sources over here. This is the biprism in our experiment. Green color is a biprism. and this biprism is then illuminated with the source S, and this source S is very narrow as it is coming from the slit. Here we have open a small window. It is just like a pinhole, or you can say small window open in front of the source S. So it is just like a small window. From the source S, all the lights are going to fall on the surface of the biprism. Remember that this biprism is having the vertex angle. This vertex angle, these vertex angle is almost equal to, almost or nearly it is equal to 180. This vertex angle is nearly equal to 180. This angle is nearly equal to, when you combine these two prisms, so this angle will become a vertex angle. It will be nearly equal to 180. And the two prisms which are used, they are very thin. They are having the refracting angle. Refracting angles of these prism may varies from 30 degree to 1 degree, as they are very thin. So when the light from the source S, when they fall on the two refracting surfaces of the prism, see how they are going to fall. They will be refracted from the prism. So these are the light rays which are coming out of the prism, and these light rays which are going to coming out of the prism, they appears to be coming from the two sources. Obviously there are two refracting surfaces are there, so this source will have the two image, source S1 and S2. So these light rays appears to be coming out from S1 and S2. When you extend their directions, you will get the images of these two virtual sources. They will be actually here and here. So these are the two virtual sources that we have obtained from a single source with the help of prism. And what happened, these light rays which are coming, appears to be coming from the two virtual sources, they will interfere with each other as they cross each other. So whenever they cross each other, they are going to give rise the interference pattern, and this is the area where we are getting the interference pattern, bright and dark fringes. So these are the two ways to obtain the coherent sources of light. So hope you will have understood the topic. Thank you.